Hey, this is Olivia, and you're listening to a special Christmas edition of Soarin Around WDW. Okay, so tonight we are here. Merry Christmas. This is going to drop on Christmas Day. So thanks for spending part of your holiday listening with us, or after your holiday when you're cleaning up all the mess or about to take your nap. Whenever you're listening, we appreciate it. Tonight we have a very special guest on with us, our mom. Regan could not make it tonight because of crazy holiday schedules. It just didn't work out for us to record together, and my mom is here with me in North Carolina. So we decided to go ahead and just record because that was the plan, and we wanted to have her on as a guest. So just wanted to start out asking some questions, basic kind of Disney questions about her Disney past, and then kind of move into some fun Christmas stuff because she's got to do a lot of different Disney Christmas stuff over the years with us, and also when she was a kid, and also after we are grown. So some fun, different Christmas holiday stuff to tie in since it's Christmas Day. But first, Mom, so how old were you on your very first trip? Was it to Disneyland? And if so, what year was it approximately?
Actually, my very first trip was to Disney World.
It was? Okay.
It was because, so my family went without me. I was born March of 71.
Yeah.
The park opened in October.
Uh-huh.
And they all went, and I stayed in Wisconsin with your great grandmother.
Are you serious?
Yes.
They just left you.
They just left me.
They drove, I'm assuming.
They drove, yeah. And so that became a thing, like every 10, 11 years, like for 10 to 11 years.
Straight,
each year. We went, packed up the Suburban and the Argosy camper.
Okay.
And there was a tent for the older kids. I'm the youngest of 5.
Uh-huh.
And we always brought either grandmother or we even brought your grandfather's mom and dad one year, which was a real trip. Yeah. But it was just like a family event. Everybody loved it. And so my first year was then that next year, 1972.
So you were only a year old.
Yeah. So I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously.
And not many pictures back then.
No, but I do remember when I was probably 4 or 5 years old, like just the whole idea of the Peter Pan ride.
Uh-huh.
And at that time there was a Snow White ride.
Yeah.
Not the one that's there now, but it just was amazing to me. Like mesmerized. Like I was hooked.
Is that why Peter Pan's your favorite? Because of that ride? Or
probably. I mean, Small World was there then too.
Yeah, Grandma's favorite.
But yeah, that's her favorite. I think maybe for Peter Pan, for me, it was because it was so different. You know, like as a little girl, you always had dolls shoved in your face, and that's what you played with. Yeah, you were into. And Snow White was the first princess there, and so that's how we were introduced to princesses. But for Peter Pan, I think like the whole variety that it offered, and like the idea of a volcano and
mermaids,
flying and mermaids, and that
fairies,
just like really brought that like mystical world. Yeah, so I think maybe that's why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So that was the first like just kind of growing up on it. And then even when Epcot opened at the end of that time frame. Yeah. And the reason why it was the end of the time frame that we went as a family was because I'm the youngest of 5. Right. And the older
we're all grown.
And so it wasn't a thing anymore, but your grandparents continued to go.
Yeah.
And then we still went a few times, just like your Aunt Kathy and your Aunt Ruth, and I took Tyler when he was tiny, like probably 2. Yeah. With your grandma, and came down to Florida, and we took him to Disney too. Yeah. So there were trips after that, but it wasn't. You know, it was about 10 to 11 years that we went as a family every year.
Florida.
Yeah, at Christmas time. Okay. My Christmas tree as a little kid when that was going on was literally like not much bigger than the size of my hand, like a plastic Christmas tree that we had in the trailer. No lights or anything on it. Wow. Because
you were there
we got
for
to
your
do
gift.
Disney.
Yeah. So where did you stay? Did you stay at Fort Wilderness, or was it
No.
like an off-site campground in Kissimmee or something?
Off-site campground in Kissimmee. We actually have slides of it.
Okay.
I don't know if we have movie reels of it. Grandpa would know, but I remember the slides.
And was it Christmas because Grandpa's office was closed? Like so my grandpa was an optometrist, and his wife was a nurse. My grandma was a nurse, but then ended up stopped working as a nurse to help him with his practice eventually. Mm-hmm. So when you guys first started going, was it just because his office was closed, he would close it for Christmas, and that's why it was Christmas, or just because it was magical, or
they just decided that's what we were doing for Christmas? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, we for the first few years we were in private school, and so
it didn't really matter.
Yeah, and I think they just kind of kept that going. There wasn't like truancy and stuff like that when we were kids. So
you took your kids when you wanted to.
I mean, they just kind of figured we did that. I mean, in the summer times we would go out west, and we did go to Disneyland, but I don't remember what year. I was maybe second grade.
Okay, so you had been to Disneyland as a child.
Yeah.
Even after they had gone that big trip. Or
yeah, but California Adventure hadn't been there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what, other than Peter Pan and Snow White, were there any other memorable rides that really stuck out to you?
I was always freaked out by the Carousel of Progress.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I thought they were real.
Yeah, they're pretty, I mean, for their time, they were very realistic animatronics at the time.
Yeah, and I thought the dog was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I still like the dog.
Yeah, and so now, like, I don't know at what point it stopped freaking me out or if I just stopped going on it, but I think it was so real.
Yeah.
And then like the way that it was acting like we were going to live in the future at that time. Like,
and now it's very much like the present.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So you went every year from when you were 1 through 10-ish, and to Disneyland just the one other time that you can think of?
Yeah, to Disneyland just the one other time, except for I went with your brother and his wife.
Yeah.
As adults, but I didn't when we went out west, we went twice, and your grandpa he closed his office for about 5 weeks each time. And so we went to a lot of national parks.
Yeah.
And then there were some other things out there that we did that were theme parkish. Maybe we did like SeaWorld out there or something. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I remember Disneyland. California Adventure wasn't there, but I remember the Magic Kingdom, and then like the year that Epcot opened was huge also.
Was a big year, yeah.
Yeah.
So when we moved down to Florida in 1999, Dad told a story when he was a guest on our podcast, because I did not know this, that you were the one that bought annual passes and came home with them.
Yes.
So what made you decide to do that? Just because we love to go?
Yeah. Like, how can you live
an hour?
An hour and a half at that time before the traffic got chaotic and from the Gulf over. How could you live that close and not? Like, and I just wanted you guys to have that same kind of experience that I had as a kid.
Yeah.
That was like one of our reasons for moving to Florida, was to be able to enjoy the beaches and enjoy the parks. And the MGM Studios, which is now Hollywood Studios, there might have been changes in between too, but they opened, I think, the year I graduated from high school. So I experienced that park the first time with you guys.
Okay, so you hadn't gone to that one before. Yeah.
Or Animal Kingdom. That
right. Yeah. I remember Animal Kingdom opening like right around when we moved there, and then Hollywood Studios, which was MGM Studios when we first started going. Okay.
Yeah, but I did think about like how in the world did my parents afford to do Disney, because even like when we did it with you guys, it was still reasonable.
Right.
And it's just really a luxury now.
Yeah. It's so much different.
And it was like comparable to maybe $20 for the ticket.
Oh yeah, yeah. We looked it up, and I think so. When Disney World first opened, it was like $350 a person,
and then I think it went up to $375 the next year.
Yeah, and then when we were kids, I mean, looking at ticket prices, it was like $19.95 for a day or whatever. And we've talked about a little bit on previous podcast episodes, like you could go for free on your birthday, or like they had a lot of other promotions. Even as we got older, and it got a little more expensive, it's still. There were ways to make it not expensive, especially for being local.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like 2009, I think, was when they did the whole like birthday free.
2008, 2009. Yeah, a couple years in a row, because that's when I started like taking a friend, because it was like, oh, we don't have to pay for your ticket because it's your birthday. So we'll take a friend along or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So to hop into some holiday stuff, we obviously could go on forever with questions, but so holidays at Disney. So we went as kids to Mickey's Not So Scary Christmas Party once. Is that right? Not more than once. We did Halloween a lot. We only did Christmas one time.
We did the Osborne Spectacle of Lights.
Yeah, but the actual like Magic Kingdom Christmas party.
Just the one time.
Yeah. Okay. We have a picture of like us at the, like where you walk in and they take your picture and they print it for you, and it's like a border of Mickey's, Very Merry Christmas Party. Yeah. I put not so scary. Oh my gosh. Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, whatever. Obviously it's not scary. And all I remember about it was like I am so Halloween obsessed that I was just like, this is just not the same. Like it was cute. It's Christmassy. We got cookies and cocoa for free. That was like the free thing, which still is. But was there anything else that like stuck out to you that you remember from that Christmas party?
When we took you to the Magic Kingdom one?
Yeah.
I think it's just like the decorations too.
Yeah.
What they can do with the hidden Mickeys. We were very into the hidden Mickeys all the time. And they would, all the wreaths along the lamp posts, they would hide them. And then in the windows, they would spray them with snow.
Yeah.
And different things. And it just really got you in the spirit of the holiday.
Well, I feel like you're very Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I actually preferred the Osborne Spectacle of Lights.
Okay, we're going to talk about that, so don't get too much into that. Okay. That's part of, So...
But also talking about Christmas, like when we were kids, when we were there, it was at Christmas. It wasn't an extra ticket.
You just got to go
and experience Christmas. And then New Year's. Yeah. New Year's were the concerts. And I think that was, like... It sticks in my mind a lot because it was one of the last trips we had there. We took your grandma and grandpa Risto. And that was a whole nother experience.
Her grandma and grandpa Risto.
Your great parents.
Yeah, great grandparents.
And that was when your grandparents would literally just drop us off at the park.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so we did New Year's Eve, and they had Kool and the Gang and Sheila E.
Wow.
And it was between Epcot and Magic Kingdom. So now when they do those extra tickets where they have concerts and things, that was just a part of the party.
Your included ticket.
It was just it's Christmas Day at Disney, it's Christmas Day at Epcot. Yeah. Wow. And New Year's Eve at Epcot and Disney. And it was amazing.
Well, I think when we went for the Millennium in 2000, it wasn't a ticketed event, correct? It was just we just had to get in there before they hit capacity, basically. Yeah. And it was insane. And I'm pretty sure they hit capacity. It was like wild. But I also didn't realize when we went for the Millennium that Grandma and Grandpa Jola were there. And I think Grandma and Grandpa Risto and like Uncle John, exchange student, LaToya, obviously, Aunt Ruth, and then me and Regan and you guys. I didn't realize there were so many people. And I think looking at pictures, I don't know if you remember, if we stayed at Swan and Dolphin, so we were like right there by Epcot. We had pictures in like our shirts. I'll have to show you.
We would stay at the French Quarter a lot.
Oh, really? Okay.
There were a lot of us.
I remembered that. I've only stayed there once as an adult.
Yeah, because we stayed at a lot of the places. The only other time we had like Aunt Ruth and LaToya with us and we stayed was Swan and Dolphin, Contemporary. But the French Quarter, we really liked the location of it and the price of it.
Yeah, it's pretty reasonable for like a nicer, like it's not as value as All-Star Movies, even though that's still a pretty nice hotel. But then it's like a little step up from that. without being crazy like contemporary price.
Yeah, it's weird because with your grandparents being such campers, like loving to camp.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't camp at Fort Wilderness.
I don't remember ever camping at Fort Wilderness.
No, but they loved Hoop-Dee-Doo. So we go to Fort Wilderness.
Yes, we did go to that. Yeah.
Did you do that as kids? Was that a thing when you were kids? I can't remember what year that started. We've talked about it a couple times.
I don't remember if it was like a special ticket thing.
It was.
No, we literally just did our park tickets.
Okay.
But I do remember like the petting the animals there and stuff.
Okay.
So we definitely had been there, but...
Yeah, I didn't, like, camp there necessarily, like, at an
Not that I remember,
camp.
no.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
And then when you went to Disneyland with Regan, that was in 2017, 18, something like that.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID, for Christmas Day. Were you you weren't in the park Christmas Day, but it was, like, Christmas week.
Yeah, it was Christmas week. I don't think we were in the park Christmas Day. Regan would have a better memory of that. It was... If it wasn't Christmas Day, it was the next day.
Okay. Was it crazy packed that you remember?
I didn't feel like it was.
Okay.
I mean, relative to how the Magic Kingdom gets packed now.
Yeah.
Not really. But your brother also was very about, like, getting there super early. I know we did breakfast at the Crystal Palace. Right? Yeah. So we could get into the rides early and stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like we waited an extra amount of time. They went on, I'm not like a coaster person.
Yeah.
I did all that when I was a kid and definitely don't like it now. But I don't feel like we didn't go on anything that we didn't want to go on.
Yeah.
And they went on things that I didn't want to go on.
Yeah.
Which I love to just sit and like watch people and
look in the shops and stuff.
Yeah.
And their big thing that I feel like most people know that's included with park ticket is the Haunted Mansion holiday with the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay. You guys did that?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so it's funny. I feel like
different.
People love Nightmare Before Christmas, and our family is just like, Regan and Steph like it. To me, it's more Halloween than Christmas, even though it's in the title. But it's interesting that people are so into it. They love it. They want to go see what gingerbread house is in the ride every single year at Haunted Mansion or whatever. And Regan was excited to do it, but I'm just not that big of a Nightmare. We never watched Tim Burton stuff growing up.
No.
Not Corpse Bride came out when we were a little older, and so I had seen that in theaters, but like I don't think I'd ever seen Nightmare Before Christmas all the way through until I was an adult. And even now, I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen it again all the way through. I just don't.
Yeah, no, Regan and Stephanie were crazy about it when we went, and they had to like point things out to me, and I was like, whatever. Yeah. I did not like. Yeah, no, I was not really into it. I really liked when you look at Christmas stuff, like I liked when they started doing the Jungle Cruise at
Jingle Cruise.
Yeah, the Jingle Cruise. Yeah, and they would change it where they would have and they just started introducing like putting some Christmas things inside the rides at that time frame, and that was really I liked that because it was unexpected and I didn't have to know any extra or different like plot lines or anything. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else about Disneyland Christmas that you remember, like that stuck out to you, or California Adventure that they did differently?
Like I loved the Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
So I'm excited that that's going to be a thing. Like
they're coming.
Yeah, that was really good. And then also the Alice in Wonderland ride.
Yep. Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
It was interesting to me because going with your brother, he kind of points out like the tracking system and everything, and he's like, "This is the same as the Snow White ride was, or the Pooh Pots or whatever." And I was just like, "Well, this is this part of the book that turned into the movie and turned into the ride, or maybe the ride came in between. I don't remember, but it was just very unique to." I think when we go to the Magic Kingdom and see the spinning teacups and they have Alice and the Mad Hatter and the Queen of Hearts and everything outside there. Yeah. It's fun to see them, but having gone into the ride at Disneyland, it just really helps your imagination with that was. I think it's super cool.
Yeah, Disneyland has a lot of dark rides still, where I feel like Disney World got rid of like some of them or has replaced them. And Regan and I both talk about how we really like the dark rides and wish they would do more. And maybe it's not the most technologically advanced or whatever, but like going through the story is like still really cool to us.
Yeah. Well, and another thing they did at Disneyland was they had the pirate ship in the nighttime show.
They had that in their Fantasmic, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They still do.
Yeah, that was really different. And
on top of the ferry boat, the riverboat.
Yes.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah, and I don't know. I love Fantasmic at Hollywood Studios.
Me too, and Regan really loves Disneyland better.
Oh, yeah.
But I think the seating, like, you have to sit just, like, wherever on the ground, and, like, it's kind of a pain to, like, get to, and then you rush off to go back and see the fireworks on Main Street, because, like, they're the same park.
Right.
Like, it just all seems very, I don't know. I liked it. It was fun to see, and it's different, but I still like Hollywood Studios better.
Well, and I remember when the Pirates of the Caribbean was added to Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, the ride.
And thinking how cool that was. Like, that dip gets me every time.
Yeah.
When you start out. But just like how creative and how cool it was, and with the pirate ship and the nighttime show, I was just like, meh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool, but it's not, to me, I still like our Fantasmic better.
Yeah, what's weird, and maybe I'm aging myself, is the way they lit up and how part of It's a Small World is outside.
Yeah,
at Disneyland. That is amazing to me.
Christmas time they really do it out too. It's like, I've heard that's amazing.
Yeah, I really liked that, but it is again about that spirit and that feeling that you get when you're coming up to the ride, and like at the Magic Kingdom, that's a ride that
it's inside.
Yeah,
so
you don't know until you get inside.
Yeah,
there. And
Small World there is really, really cool.
Yeah,
I wonder if that's why Grandma loves it so much, because of that Small World.
Maybe.
I have to ask her. That's interesting. Okay, so jumping into what is currently offered at Walt Disney World, because we don't know enough about Disneyland to kind of talk to what they do now.
Yeah.
But the holiday offerings currently at Walt Disney World this season, at Magic Kingdom, they had still Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, and that runs now per person for between $169 to $219 per adult. To enter at 4, party begins at 7 and goes until midnight. To me, that's nuts. Insane. That is insane. And I know Halloween is getting as expensive too. It's not quite as expensive, but it's close. I just can't believe how much these after-hour parties were, because we found one of our old tickets from Christmas and from Halloween, and it was like $30.
Yeah.
So you could just go at 4 and be there till midnight. So like 8 hours, which is still, for most people, a long day. And for $30.
Right.
So that's crazy, and get all the extra offerings and whatever. So that what Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party is, for those of you who aren't familiar, basically it's a special exclusive after hours party that you have to have a separate ticket for. So if you're at Magic Kingdom during the day, you are booted out by 7 p.m. They don't have the regular fireworks show that night. You can't stay for the party. It's a separate ticketed event. And it has a special parade, special fireworks, free unlimited cookies and cocoa. There's a free ornament that you get. There's different ride overlays, but nothing like Disneyland. It's Jingle Cruise is the most the most overlay, well done one that they have. But there is like a Mad Tea Party like layover. They play Christmas music. They had the lights red and green. Space Mountain, same thing. And then I think like a couple of different rides have some exterior lighting, like the Tomorrowland Speedway. But nothing really super well done except for Jingle Cruise, in my opinion, as far as the rides go. And then at Epcot, they have the Candlelight Processional, which is included with your ticket. We ran through a list of who the different special guests were last week, but one that everybody loves is like Josh Gad, the voice of Olaf, and LeFou from Beauty and the Beast. But he, usually they have a special guest, celebrity who reads from the book for the Candlelight Processional, and then it's a bunch of people who work throughout Disney World that sing. They have, a choir that sing different songs. We went to that a decent amount as kids.
A lot.
Kind of depending on who the person was. And we had annual passes. So, like, if you have an annual pass, that's included. You just go and watch. Like, Epcot just had really great shows and concerts like that included in your ticket.
Yeah, I think that the difference between when you were growing up and now your kids growing up there is that you really have to plan more for it. I feel like then we would really just stumble upon things, and there were so many different things that were right out in the open, and then in the little nooks and crannies of the side streets that you would just stumble upon, that there was never a time where you went where you were disappointed, like you had missed something. Where I feel like now it's such an investment, and there's been times that I've been there, like after the Super Bowl, and you know how they're like, we're going to Disney World, and we were over at Epcot, but they were over at the Magic Kingdom, and I'm like, well, yeah, no big deal, because over at Epcot, like, we ran into these different superstars, or they had this going on that was our priority, like the nighttime show had changed, or the parade had changed, or something. So,
well, and that's what LaToya had said when we had her on too, was like the character meet and greets. Like at Epcot especially, it's like you turn a corner and there's Esmeralda and Hunchback. And but it wasn't like a thing on the app you had to check, you had to go. They'd just be out. And they were out like all the time everywhere. Yeah. Or like Jeannie and Jasmine, or Alice in the UK, like Mary Poppins, blah, blah, blah. It was just like crazy. So it wasn't anything that you really had to like schedule and pay attention to the time and what time are they out, or you're going to miss them. It just didn't feel like that then.
No, and actually, like as a kid, when I was in middle school, those last years that we went, I would search for Mickey Mouse. Yeah. And he would not be like around every corner and available all the time. Yeah. But it was a part of the like fun of it. Yeah. You know, you also didn't have your phone cameras then or anything. And so like my brother and sister would be like, oh, we just saw him on the monorail coming over from Epcot. You know, like we were just with him. And so then I'd go there, and then they would see him again in the Magic Kingdom, because they still would do that, like not having him out at the same time. But it wasn't, you know, we didn't have all the characters that they have now either. True. And so you just stuck to those like classic true characters. Core characters.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So Epcot, definitely a lot of just like free fun holiday stuff. Living with the Land has a pretty cool overlay. Regan and I saw that when we were there just a couple weeks ago doing our challenge run, and it had a 50-minute wait for Living with the Land, which is crazy. Like legit 50 minutes, just because it was all like lit up, which it was really pretty. It was really cool. I'm not trying to downplay it. It's way better to me than like regular Living with the Land, which is still cool, but like this was way better. And then they also have like now a cookie like crawl at the countries, where like you get different cookies at the countries, but now you pay for them. So it's like you go,
like
you get
the food and wine festival, you pay for the food and
versus I feel like when we were younger, they had different things that were free.
Oh yeah, down in the Lands, that food area down there, they had a Nestle Toll House.
Yes,
cooking area. Yeah, and you and your brother would do that. In fact, when we took Rachel with you for your birthday one year, you all did it as well, and they would give you the chef hats, and they would also like let you make the cookies, and they would have them in the oven and bring out, you know, cookies, obviously not the ones you made because of germs and whatnot. Yeah. But give you all a cookie.
For free.
Yeah. There was no free. It was just happened to be like you would go and you'd see that it was happening, and if you didn't get into that group, they were like, oh, come back, we're doing it again in 30 minutes, or we do it on 30-minute rotations. Yeah. And it's just it's like it felt like it was like trial. You just stumbled upon things, and I just think it was probably very brilliantly planned.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was, for us, it's why like people were like, why would you get an annual pass? Why would you go to Disney?
You've done
so
it
much?
all.
and you don't, and you get to do it in a much more relaxed way.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah.
Well, and I feel like there were a lot more perks for annual pass holders back then than there are now. Like now it's like a discount on merch, but like, and free parking. But then it was like the lounge and you got exclusive event things. And I don't know, it just seemed like you got a lot more with your annual pass back then. There weren't blackout dates. It was like you just went whenever you wanted.
Right. And actually, when we were kids, before you guys were born, when your grandma and grandpa would go, my uncle worked for a major corporation, and they had private lounge access and would receive tickets, and they all went. And I remember when we went as kids with them, then I think the next year, it was like this special, we were able to go in and have like snacks and water and stuff that they started then doing for annual pass holders. So it's almost like if you went through the history of Disney and how things are now, you can almost see a connection to, they see how things work, and then it's like, how can we make that an experience or available for people who are loyal to us, or
right,
people who are coming.
Yeah. It doesn't seem that way now.
No, not so much anymore.
No.
It's a lot less of it now.
Yeah. And then at Hollywood Studios, now they have this new thing that started last year called Jollywood Nights. And it's their own, like, after-hours Christmas special event. And it's $159 to $179 per person. But this one, you only can enter at 6 p.m. The party starts at 7:30, and it goes until 12:30. It does seem to have more unique to only this event things than the Very Merry Christmas Party. So there's this new ice skating show called Glisten that's only during this. There's a behind the scenes of the Muppet Christmas Carol movie. There's a Nightmare Before Christmas sing-along at the Frozen Theater. There is a Disney Holidays, which I've heard is incredible, at the theater where they do the Beauty and the Beast show. And then there's something called Jingle Jangle Bam. There's the Tip Top Club. There's Ollie the Gingerbread Man. So there's all kinds of unique nighttime things. You don't get Phantasmic. You don't get, but it is a special event that does seem to have a little bit more, and it's also like fancier. So like people like dress up for this, but not every ride is open. And so it's a little like they're trying to figure it out. So I heard this year was better than last year, but still isn't like amazing, especially for that price. Again, it's like you're paying that much money for 6.5 hours, so it's even less than Very Merry Christmas Party. But that did have 13 dates this year, started in November, and then the last event was just this past Saturday, which was December 21st. But before they had that, their holiday thing at Hollywood Studios, or MGM back in the day, was the Osborne Spectacle of Lights. We did talk about this in our Disney After Dark special, where we talked about the different firework and nighttime shows. And this was something that was, again, included with your ticket. So it was free to go. Started in 1995 and went until January 2016. And we last all went in December 2014, right before I got married, right before we moved to Florida. Or right before Maddie and I moved to North Carolina. And it was in the Streets of America section of the park. There were over 5 million different lights used. It was after this family who had their own setup like this in their neighborhood. And Disney, caught onto it and was like, hey, you want to do this in the parks? And so they ended up transferring it over there. But then with the creation of Galaxy's Edge and all of that going to be coming to Hollywood Studios, they canceled it and took it all out because there's not really as good of a place to do it because it got pretty crowded.
It did get really crowded, but I think that speaks to just how spectacular it was.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, I think any kind of ticketed item that they're going to do, they have to do differently and make it
not so crowded.
Because that people who have had that experience, I don't think that you could ask anyone, even if you're standing in there, wall-to-wall people was your experience, there was just something very magical about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, we went at times where it was Florida cold.
Yeah.
Cold.
That's the last time we went. It was extremely cold.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was like in the 40s.
Yeah, but just the way that they did the play with the lights and the snow, and it just, I think, offered something to people for that park that they couldn't possibly recreate.
Yeah.
So they have to go different with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the expense of the ticket for it, I think that there's less people that could afford that separate ticket.
Yeah.
For the new
for the new
experience.
Party.
Yeah. Because people are trying, like, the thing that's people really like about the Christmas show at the Magic Kingdom, or the Christmas time at the Magic Kingdom, is that you do get to experience the rides.
Right.
And you can go in earlier.
Yeah.
And so you get that magical Christmas experience there, and how they do it with the hot cocoa and the cookies and everything, and the special shows, and they had the gingerbread people in the parade, and like all that going on. But you also get to do the rides.
Yeah.
And so I think if people have to choose between being able to go to all of the parks,
right,
Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Epcot, and Animal Kingdom, or doing the nighttime show for Hollywood.
Yeah.
But maybe that's their intent. Maybe their intent is to keep less people there.
Yeah, and make it a little bit more exclusive. That's what I heard. I heard the first year there were just like really long waits for things, like the exclusive characters they had or whatever. The waits were like 2 hours long, so then you wasted 2 of your 6 hours in line. And and most of the rides are open. I think the only one, and I might be wrong about this, that Rise of the Resistance is not, but everything else maybe is. But still, even so, it's like, if you spend that much money, you kind of want to do the unique stuff and not just ride rides the whole time.
Well, and if you're getting dressed up and going too.
You're really going to ride like Rock and Roller Coaster in a gown. I mean, maybe. But
maybe.
Yeah. So that's true. So it's just different. Whereas Osborne just was, again, included in your ticket. Still very magical, still very Christmas themed, but you got to be there the whole day.
Well, and why would you go and spend that money and not see Fantasmic?
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, you're talking to if you aren't a Fantasmic person, you're at the wrong place.
Yeah.
We're huge Fantasmic people. There was somebody that posted something on Instagram like, why go see Fantasmic when you could wait like way less time for rides during that time? And I was like, first of all, you don't wait that much less time. Second of all, because it's the most amazing nighttime show that Disney has ever made. Yeah. The end. Period. That's our thoughts on that. And then Animal Kingdom, their really only like holiday thing is they have, the big Christmas tree out front. They play music in like different drums and like African rhythm to Asian rhythms, like windpipes and stuff throughout the park the entire day. And then they have this thing that started in 2019 called the Merry Menagerie, which is like puppet kite type of like animals. But it's just like goes on throughout the day at different times. It's not like a show or a stage show or anything like that there. So that's a park with the least, as usual, amount of extra things that you get with your ticket for the holidays, quote unquote. And then if you're not in the parks, one thing that has become very popular, especially this last year, was the gingerbread house crawl, which there are multiple different gingerbread houses. The Grand Floridian, I think, is the one that most people think of because that was the first and the one that, or maybe not the first, but the one that's gone on the longest. And then there also now is one in Epcot. There's one at Animal Kingdom Lodge that's shaped like a giraffe and a baby giraffe. And then the Beach Club has a carousel that's made entirely out of gingerbread that's been there for years now. And they kind of change the theme every year. I think this year it was a Christmas Carol, which is really cool. So that's something that you can do really technically for free. You can just hop around to the different places besides Epcot, which you'd have to have admission to.
Well, in downtown Disney, Disney Springs now, started the Christmas tree walk. Yeah. And that's really pretty. Yeah. And that gives you a good experience as well. there's a lot to do. You're never going to be able to do all of it.
Yeah.
That's why people go back. And then they're always growing and adding. If you think about the amount of land that they bought and what they have had to stop with at this point with the 4 parks versus I think it was 7 that they had as the initial dream.
Yeah.
It's just a mammoth undertaking.
Yeah.
To do the quality.
Yeah. It's really hard to keep the quality and keep changing new things and keeping people happy and the intellectual property like IP stuff, and it's just it's hard to do it all. So I guess what are your top 3, or it doesn't have to be what you've done, but top 3 favorite things that you would want to do if you were at Disney for the holidays?
For the holidays?
Yeah.
So we actually did before the underground tunnel tour. Mm-hmm. And I would like to see that at the holidays. I would like to see the behind the scenes stuff from the holidays.
I think they do something, or they did have some kind of behind the scenes like holiday tour. That would be cool.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool because it was so interesting to experience just as a normal tour of the parks and how they operate.
Yeah.
So getting to see all of the festivities, it's kind of like going to the North Pole, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that would be one thing. I really love going and just seeing what they do for the decor. And I mean, now that they have the Starbucks on Main Street, just getting like a coffee and walking and seeing. And then same thing at Epcot, the gardens. You can never ever like say anything negative about the gardens that they do.
Yeah.
And it's just another level with the holidays.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, and that's, I literally would pay a ticket just to go in and walk around all day and see everything.
Yeah.
Daytime, and it's a whole different experience or view in the nighttime.
Yeah. So
that's, and then I really enjoy their holiday, whether it's Halloween or Christmas, the parades then.
Yeah.
And the shows that they do and the fireworks.
Yeah, the difference that they do for the holidays.
Yeah. So that entertainment piece, I think, would be one of my 3 things.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think for me, definitely getting to see the difference. I wish they had more ride overlays, but like changing the rides a little bit more for the holidays. The special Christmas shows, like the one thing about Jollywood Nights that makes me super interested are the unique shows that they have. Like I wish they had that just with your park ticket. Mm-hmm. So that would be cool. And then the cookie stroll sounds super fun. I'm sure it's expensive by the time you get done, but some people posted some of the cookies and I was like, oh my gosh, that looks amazing at Epcot. And just being able to like go to each country, kind of take your time, maybe watch the candlelight processional while you're there. Mm-hmm. That just sounds like a really cool day. So yeah, those would probably be my top 3 favorite things. So some rapid fire questions, since you are the guest of the show, that we ask all of our guests, just a couple of them today. But what is your favorite ride overall at Walt Disney World?
Peter Pan.
Okay, I figured you were going to say that. So what is your second favorite ride at Magic Kingdom?
Second.
Yeah.
At Magic Kingdom?
Yeah, so if Peter Pan's your favorite ultimate ride, what's your next favorite ride at Magic Kingdom?
Oh, gosh. I really like the Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
Lasers. Yeah.
That's fun. Okay, what about at Epcot? Favorite ride? Or show or whatever. Doesn't have to be.
Oh, at Epcot?
Yeah.
I actually do like Soarin' now.
Okay, you don't get sick from
it. I don't get sick from it. Now that I don't get sick. Because I like to travel, and so, like, it.
So do you prefer the
really
world
beautiful.
or California?
I preferred the world.
I figured you were going to say that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Animal Kingdom.
Safari.
Yeah, that's
Hands
easy.
down.
Same here. A lot of people say Everest, and I'm like, no, Safari's
No.
where it's at. Or like Pandora. Hollywood Studios. Favorite ride show.
Oh, Beauty and the Beast show.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what... Did you know it's the longest running stage show at Disney?
No, I did not know that.
Yes. Did you know your son also would love for it to be gone and something else to be there? Isn't that horrible?
Ever since the day he was born.
Because we go to it every time. We make him watch it.
You would have to get him like a big it's a doozle.
Oh, it's a kadoozy. Yes, we've talked about that quite a few times.
Every time. That was like why he likes him so much because he got them all the time.
And then favorite restaurant at the parks, or you can name a couple. If you'd like to pick.
So Liberty Tree Tavern, we have a lot of really good memories there, and we've probably gone to that restaurant with all the people we've ever taken to the park. So the memories of that too. But I did really love when they had the breakfast in the castle.
Yeah.
And because there was a time, speaking of your brother, since he's not here to defend himself, he was pretty high maintenance as a kid, even at Disney World. And there was a time that I had to take him out of the restaurant, and you and your dad were there, and Cinderella had just come by.
Yeah.
And I came back with him, and it hadn't been just a moment. It had been a little bit of time. And she was literally sitting there, like not sitting in my chair, but like leaning against it, still talking to you.
Yeah.
And like kneeling down and like just hanging out with you. And
the character interaction.
Oh my God. Yeah. It was, and the characters that were in there as well. And then just the beauty of the castle itself and being in Cinderella's castle.
Yeah. Was really cool.
Yeah.
Because I remember like Peter Pan and like Fairy Godmother.
Oh yeah, very different.
Prince Charming. Yeah, not just like regular characters that you could meet wherever.
Yeah.
Or you couldn't then, I guess. But yeah, I do remember there being a lot of characters, them spending a lot of time, and it being a really good breakfast and like not as expensive as it is now. Now it's like the most expensive character dining.
Yeah.
It's
Which
crazy.
is just, well, I mean, it makes sense because it was an
literally in the castle
experience.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. But I have heard people say that it's like timed. The characters can only stay a certain amount of time, and if your child went to the bathroom when a certain character and that's just sad because when you've had that other experience,
it's really hard
so the food and the characters there were amazing.
That's true. And then favorite ride that's now gone, that doesn't exist anymore.
That doesn't exist anymore. I think because it was one of the first, was the original Snow White ride, even though it was scary.
Yeah.
I would have to go with that just because she was the first princess. And like she kind of like
very memorable
to me ran the show. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what about favorite show that's now gone? I know, this is a harder one.
Yeah, that is a harder one because initially, like, as soon as you said it, I thought Tarzan Rocks.
Yeah.
Right? Because that was a really good one, but so was Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
But they also had... Did they do something different with Ariel before?
Well, there was the Ariel show. It's gone now, but they're supposed to be bringing it back,
Yeah.
In, like, the animation courtyard.
Yeah. So... I would say Tarzan Rocks, but Hunchback of Notre Dame is really close. Although the Doug show, that was
I know, yes, we talked about that. Yeah. Was also really good.
The Quail Man.
Yeah.
The underpants on the head. That was like just so cute.
Yes. Yeah. Those are all shows that we went to like every single time we went to those parks, basically.
Yeah, well, and the Great Movie Ride. Well, you said show, though.
Well, but so another ride, Great Movie Ride. Yeah, I know. I miss that ride so much.
That was really good.
Yeah.
That was really good. And it's weird because I don't have a good memory of what isn't there from when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
There's times that I'm like, didn't there used to be?
Yeah.
You know, like this bobsled thing or this or that.
Yeah.
And you kind of think that you dreamt it.
Up. Yeah.
But what's there, I couldn't imagine replacing much of any of it. Yeah.
That's it is. It's sometimes like your memories and like our pictures and like sometimes I'm like, was this real? Was this not real? Like I have to go back and like look stuff up a lot because it just seems like it's all a blur sometimes. But speaking of the Great Movie Ride, real quick, like segue, there's a podcast that I listen to called Idiot's Guide to Imagineering, and it's these previous cast members that like do this podcast, and they had this holiday episode last year where they rethemed the Great Movie Ride like in their minds to be a holiday, like Christmas theme, and like the burglars from Home Alone like take over your cart. And I thought that was, and you go through different scenes of different movies, and I was like, this is genius. Bring it back. Like that, it sounds amazing, especially for the holidays. I don't know how you could switch it out, but like if you could, that would be so cool. But yeah, that was really cool. Yeah. And then favorite hotel at Disney.
Favorite hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, we have so many great memories of the Swan and Dolphin.
Yeah.
But, and the Contemporary was convenient. It wouldn't be my favorite hotel.
Yeah.
It was very convenient. But I've never stayed at the Grand Floridian, the one on the end of the monorail. So I guess because of the elusiveness of it, because I've never been in it. Oh, no, I loved the Animal Kingdom when we stayed.
Oh, yeah, Animal Kingdom Lodge.
And the Wilderness.
Wilderness Lodge, yeah.
I did love both of those.
I know, I want to take the girls to Animal Kingdom Lodge sometime.
Yeah, I think now that I've been to Africa also and done a safari, like I would love to just go and stay there again.
Yeah.
Because the chances of me going back and doing a safari like frequently is not going to happen.
Yeah.
But it makes it a little more reasonable to pay
whatever
what they charge now for it to stay there. Yeah.
Yeah, lodge.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then favorite park snack.
A favorite park snack. Has to be the chocolate ice cream bar.
Okay. Yeah, the Mickey ice cream bar. Me too.
Ice cream bar.
I thought maybe you were going to say Regan. I feel like Regan's, I don't even know if this is still true, is the Mrs. Potts, whatever it's now. It's not called that now. Soft serve ice cream.
Yeah. That's not my favorite though.
Okay.
That's just like of course you're going to get it because you're going by there.
Yeah.
But it's, even though they have the Mickey Mouse ice cream bars in the store now,
they're not the same.
It's not the same.
No, they're still
you have to
fine.
have it there at the park.
Yeah, they're the park ones. I think are way better.
Yeah, I do too.
And favorite Disney character.
It's always been the mouse for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's always been Mickey Mouse, and I think because I have so many great memories
as a kid.
Yeah, as a kid, and your Aunt Ruth loved Goofy so much.
Yeah.
And so it was just like we had so many memories with that. And then you guys, obviously you have all the princesses and everything now too. And, but
something
they're
about
just the
Mickey.
staple. Yeah. I mean, that's where it began.
Yeah. Okay. And then favorite Disney movie, which I think is an obvious.
My favorite Disney movie is Peter Pan.
Yeah, I was going to say, Peter Pan has answered almost everything.
Yeah, well, and it was really going on Broadway and seeing Finding Neverland.
Yeah.
The story behind it.
Yeah.
Where they're like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That was great as an adult to be able to have that experience.
Okay, cool. So our old versus new for today is Osborne's Spectacle of Lights versus Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. So, which one takes the cake? I know the answer already.
Osborne's Spectacle of Lights.
Yeah, I think for me too. It's included in your ticket, or was included in your ticket. That's the old. It's obviously gone now. Way more reasonable to still get really cool holiday magic, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then the trivia question for today, which this isn't as fun because Regan isn't here and I know the answer, but we'll see if you know the answer. Well, it's a good guessing one. I don't think he would know either.
Okay.
Where is the tallest Christmas tree at Walt Disney World? Is it A, outside of Animal Kingdom, B, the Main Street at Magic Kingdom, C, the Contemporary Resort, or D, the Wilderness Lodge?
Oh, dang. I'm going to say Main Street, but I know I'm wrong.
It's not, which surprised me, actually. It's the Contemporary.
The Contemporary?
Yes.
Oh, I would have thought Wilderness Lodge if it wasn't Main Street.
No, they're all like pretty close within like 5 feet of each other. But 5 feet's a lot. I don't know.
Wow.
So Contemporary 70 feet. But I think if you think about the monorail goes through there, their roofs are really tall. Like it's a really tall building, I guess. But when we did our challenge run, the one on Main Street looks huge. The one outside of Animal Kingdom also looked huge to me. So I was just like, wow. But it's hard to like put in context, I guess. Once you get above like 40 feet, everything seems huge.
So something that you guys should check into, because I don't know the answer to it, but I was learning about the tree at the Rockefeller Center and what they do with that after.
Oh, yeah.
So it would be interesting to know what they do with those trees after.
And the gingerbread houses. I guess they just get, because it just is stale.
Yeah, I mean, no, obviously you're not going to eat it.
Right. But they do sell, like, you can go to the Grand Floridian and buy a shingle of gingerbread. Like, not one off the thing. Yeah. But people say it's gross also. They said it doesn't taste very good. But it's, like, about having one.
I think if you're a person who likes to eat the gingerbread houses every year, that you probably would like it. But I've never been that person.
I like gingerbread cookies. No. I like ginger cookies even better. Just like soft ginger cookies. But, like, gingerbread cookies are fine. They're not my favorite Christmas cookie. But, yeah, gingerbread house is just, like, hard and...
no.
Has to be sturdy, obviously.
I wonder if there's a way that they preserve them.
I don't know. I think it's all fresh.
It is.
They talk about, like, how many pounds of eggs and butter and sugar and...
Yeah, it is all fresh.
It's crazy.
I don't know.
Yeah. So going to Disney at Christmas time, I feel like we haven't done in a long time because it's chaotic and so crowded. And if it's anything like when Regan and I were just there at the beginning of December, which is supposed to be a mild crowd time, it was nuts. It was so busy, especially at Magic Kingdom, that it did not encourage me to go anytime soon. But next year, looking forward to what they have coming and what will be different. There's a lot of things that they keep around every year, but... I'm curious to see what they're going to do moving forward with the different after-hours stuff. If they're going to change it, they're obviously not going to lower the price because if people are paying it, they're going to keep charging it. But if they start to expand that more, increase the hours, or how they end up handling that, because it is a little tricky between both of the parks having an after-hours thing. And then if someone's there a week, they have to kind of plan their week around those after-hours events in December. So, I don't know. It's a hard question. We have people ask us a lot, like, okay, it's my once-in-a-lifetime trip to Disney. I'm there for 5 days. Do I go to the Christmas party? And we always say no. We say no. If you've never been to Magic Kingdom, go on a day where it's going to be open all day long. Don't just go for the Christmas party. Unless you're a huge Christmas person. But even then you're not really experiencing the Magic Kingdom.
No. Yeah.
So, and your favorite park, I'm assuming, is Magic Kingdom.
Yes.
Okay. That's what I thought. I wasn't 100% sure on that. Okay. Well, that is our episode. Thank you guys for spending some of your holiday time with us. We hope that everybody had a very happy holiday season, a very Merry Christmas. And we are looking forward to ringing in the new year with y'all next week for the continuation of our podcast. I'm actually not 100% sure what episode we're doing next week because Regan and I have gone back and forth on that, but we are going to be soon getting into our Parks of the Present series, continuing our 4-park thing, and then Parks of the Future after that. But we've got some Disney trips coming up between the two of us, so going to kind of look into that. One thing that I didn't talk about that we did do for the holiday season, and I'm not sure if it's at the holiday season everywhere or if it just happens to be in our area in North Carolina every year, but Disney on Ice comes to us every December, which is kind of nice. So every year we take the kids. And this year, unfortunately, my oldest was sick and didn't get to go. But it's a really fun thing to do when you're not able to go to the parks for the holiday season. So I feel like I can get my little Disney kick. This year's theme, they had a little bit of Christmas music in the beginning, and Goofy and Donald came out in Christmas outfits, which was really cute. But the rest of it was just like different movies, princesses, Lion King, different stuff like that. And it was a really good show. So check it out to see in your area if it is a Christmas time thing or if it's a traveling show and just happens to be by us every year for Christmas. It's very convenient because it's usually a nice thing to take the kids to when they're getting that Disney itch and when I'm getting that Disney itch, but we aren't going during the holiday time.
They have that in Orlando going too.
Yeah, okay. That's what I was like. I feel like it happens usually around the holidays, but I know people have gone other times a year as well, so I'm not sure how it exactly works everywhere, but it is a really fun thing to do. All right, y'all. Well, thanks so much for listening, and we will catch you next week.